If you're mid-career, recently laid off, and watching months turn into a year without callbacks, I need you to hear this. This job market doesn't reward effort anymore. It rewards clarity. I'm going to show you exactly how I used AI to go from invisible to obvious. Let's be real about what we're up against right now. Layoffs are at record highs, hiring is ice cold, and people are job hugging, which means that they're staying in roles that they hate because the market is too risky to leave. And if you're mid-career, you're competing with a few things: cheaper early career talent that will take less money, internal candidates who already have the inside track, and AI screening systems that will filter you out before a human even sees your resume. I know this because I lived it. When I got laid off in 2024, I did what everybody told me to do. I applied to literally everything with marketing in the title. I updated my resume. I networked on LinkedIn. And after 120 applications, I only had 2 interviews to show for it. I remember sitting on my couch thinking, I have 15 years of experience. So how is it that I'm invisible? Then I realized something. This market doesn't care about how hard you're working. It cares how clearly you're communicating value. Here's what I learned the hard way. Being qualified isn't enough. You have to be the obvious hire. That means 3 things. Number 1, your skills match the role at a glance, not buried in a bunch of paragraphs, but clear and visible. Number 2, your proof reduces their risk. They can see that you've done the work before and that you've delivered results. And number 3, your story aligns with how companies actually decide. You're speaking their language, not yours. Most mid-career professionals fail at all 3. I definitely did. And it's not because they lack experience, right? But because they're explaining it wrong. I got feedback from one recruiter, the only one who bothered to respond. She said, "Your resume reads like a task list in a novel. I can't figure out what you actually do." That hurt to hear, but she was right. I was listing responsibilities and not demonstrating my value. I was writing my resume for me, not for them. And that's why it's okay to lean on AI to help you fix that. It helped me a lot, not by lying or inflating what you've done, but taking what you've actually accomplished and translating it into a format that hiring managers and ATS systems actually recognize. So let me break down exactly how. So here's the first thing that I did, and it changed everything. Titles don't explain value anymore. Skills do. But most of us don't naturally think in skills. We think in roles, projects, and tasks. And that's where AI steps into the room. I'll put this prompt up on the screen. Here's what I want you to do. Paste your resume into ChatGPT or whatever AI tool that you like to use. Run this prompt and then look at what it gives back to you. When I ran this prompt, AI pulled out cross-functional collaboration and stakeholder management as key skills of mine. These are things that I did every single day, but never put front and center on my resume. And I was leading projects across teams for years, but I was calling it coordinated initiatives, which sounds super vague and forgettable. AI translated my skills into recruiter language, pulling out patterns I'd been using, but not conveying clearly. And that's when things started to click, friend. Recruiters scan resumes for 6 to 8 seconds at best. AI systems scan for keyword matches. If your skills aren't explicit and obvious, you're invisible, no matter how qualified you are. And this prompt actually fixes that. Okay, so real talk, if you're applying to 10 or more jobs a day, friend, you are wasting your time. And I know that feels harsh, especially when you're desperate for traction. But mass applying is why you're burned out and literally getting nowhere. I was spending 3 to 4 hours a day just clicking the apply button. I would convince myself that volume would eventually work, but all I got was silence. And every rejection, or sometimes worse when recruiters didn't even bother to respond, chipped away at my confidence. I felt like I was shouting into the void. So here's what I did instead. I used AI to pre-qualify myself before I even applied to a job. So before you apply to anything, run this prompt. If AI scores you at a 6 or below, skip it. You're not competitive, really, and that application would just drain you. If it scores you between a 7 and a 9, apply. And use AI's feedback to tailor your resume bullets and tailor them to emphasize the skills that it highlighted. You stop wasting emotional energy on roles that you're not going to get, and you focus your efforts on the 20% of jobs out there that you're actually a strong fit for. That's how you go from 100 applications and 2 interviews to 20 applications and 10 interviews. Quality over quantity every single time. All right, so now you know your skills and now you're targeting the right roles. This next step, make sure your resume actually gets you in the door. Most resumes fail because they're written like this: responsible for managing marketing campaigns, or collaborated with cross-functional teams, or handled customer inquiries. That's task language. It's vague, it's boring, and forgettable. Here's what actually wins: increase campaign ROI by 35% through A/B testing and audience segmentation. Or led a cross-functional team of 8 to launch a product feature that drove 12K new users in Q1. Or resolved 200 plus customer escalations with a 95% satisfaction rating. See the difference? Outcome-driven, specific, proof. I rewrote my entire resume using this prompt, and it took me about an hour. Within 3 weeks or so, I went from 0 responses from recruiters to about 6 or so callbacks from recruiters. And one hiring manager told me this in an interview: your resume made it really easy to see that you can do this job. And that's when I knew that this prompt worked. Recruiters don't have time to decode your experience, and ATS systems can't infer your value. You have to make it obvious. AI helps you do that without spending hours agonizing over every single word in your resume. And here's something that most mid-career folks don't realize: hiring managers are actually scared. They're scared of making a bad hire, scared of wasting budget, scared of looking incompetent to their boss. Your job is to make hiring you feel safe. And how will you do this? By showing proof. Not just bullet points, but case studies that show, here's the problem I solved, here's how I did it, and here's the result. So pick 2 to 3 of your biggest wins and then run this prompt. Turn each one into a page for your online portfolio. Then you want to link it in the applications that you do. Reference it in interviews. You want to say something like this: I actually wrote up a case study on something like this and I put it in my portfolio. Want me to share it with you? Then you want to post this stuff on LinkedIn as proof of your work. I built a case study around a go-to-market strategy that I led that ended up generating over $850,000 in revenue and a 97% adoption rate. In one interview where I brought this up, the hiring manager said, most candidates will just tell me that they've done this, but you're using this case study to show me that you actually have done this. And I made it to the final round for that job, which I probably never would have if I didn't have the proof. And did I get an offer? No, but that case study opened doors that my resume by itself probably couldn't have. And I used that same strategy in other interviews where I actually did close the deal. Most people claim they can do the job, right? But you're proving it. And that's the difference between a maybe and a yes. Okay, on to the last step. And this is where a lot of mid-career folks stumble. You get the interview, you're excited, but then you ramble and go off on tangents. Or you blank on a question because you're nervous. I have been there multiple times. I rambled for like 3 minutes straight, and the interviewer's face said it all. And it's no surprise that I didn't get that job. And I walked out of that interview kicking myself because I knew in my heart of hearts I had great examples. I just couldn't access them under the pressure. So here's how AI fixes that. You'll run this prompt for every role you interview for. Read through the answers that AI generates. Tweak them, of course, in your own voice, and then practice saying them out loud. You're not memorizing scripts here. You're building structure so you can tell clear and confident stories under pressure. Interviews reward clarity nowadays. AI gives you the skeleton, you bring the voice. That combination is how mid-career professionals compete in this market with speed and confidence, even when you're a little bit nervous. So here's what I want you to understand and take away from this video. AI doesn't replace your experience. It translates it. In a job market this brutal, where people can take 6 months, 12 months, years to find something new. You can't afford to be unclear. You can't afford to mass apply and hope. You can't afford to walk into interviews unprepared. AI gives you speed, structure, and clarity, but you bring the proof, the story, and the humanity. Here's what that looked like for me. After I stopped mass applying and started using AI strategically, everything shifted for me. I went from 2 first round interviews in 3 months to 38 first round interviews in 6 weeks. I landed a role that I actually wanted, not just one I settled for out of desperation. And the big difference, I stopped feeling like I was begging for a chance, and I started showing up as the obvious hire. The obvious hire isn't the loudest, it's the clearest. And in this job market, friend, clarity is your competitive advantage. All right, friend, that's all I have for you today. If you want all 5 prompts that I just walked through, they're in the description below. Copy them, use them, and adapt them to your story. And if this shifted how you view AI in your job search, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm here every single week breaking down what actually works in this job market. Comment below and tell me which prompt you're gonna try first. Let's get you out of the void and into the room, friend, okay? As always, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one.